ध्यानश्लोका शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगहृद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्. These slides have been prepared liberally borrowing from the book Vishnu Sahasranama by Swami Chinmayananda in English and a book in Telugu of the same title Vishnu Sahasranamamu by Swami Sundara Chaitanya. Swami Sundara Chaitanya, in the preface to the book Vishnu Sahasranama, displayed in the previous slide, has beautifully brought out that Vishnu Sahasranama is an unbounded ocean of nectar of wisdom, is a great spiritual literature in which are hidden 1,000 pearls of wisdom. Each nama is like a valuable pearl of wisdom. The greatness of Vishnu Sahasranama is, it starts with the very first Om Vishwam Vishnuhu. The creator and the creation are one and the same. Similarly, the divinity and the divine name are identical. Nama, each Nama is a safe boat which transports us to the Nami, the named, that is Mahavishnu. It takes us safely to his abode, that is the Paranthamam. Swamiji, Swami Sundara Chaitanya has explained beautifully that these 1,000 names are not isolated names, nor are they susceptible to disintegration, but they are all united in one broken, beautiful, divine garland. And Swamiji has named his book Nama Ratna Malika. It is like a beautiful malika, a necklace of pearls in the form of 1,000 names of Mahavishnu. I have tried to bring out the interrelation between every name and the succeeding name to the extent possible for me. Now, verse 17 of Vishnu Sahasranama. There are 12 names in this. Upendro Vamanaha Pramshuhu Amoga Shuchirurjitaha Atindra Sangraha Sargaha Dhrutatma Niyamo Yamaha. Reading the same verse. Upendro Vamanaha Pramshuhu Amoga Shuchirurjitaha Atindra Sangraha Sargaha Dhrutatma Niyamo Yamaha. In this particular verse, most of the names are clearly identifiable. Otherwise also, we can always try to split the verse into the names, focusing on each name. We can do that. Upendraha Vamanaha Pramshuhu Amogaha Shuchihi Urjitaha Atindraha Sargaha Atindraha Sangraha Sargaha Dhrutatma Niyamaha Yamaha. The same 12 names read like a Namavali. Om Upendraya Namaha, Om Vamanaya Namaha, Om Pramshave Namaha, Om Amoghaya Namaha, Om Shuchaye Namaha, Om Urjitaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Sangrahaya Namaha, Om Sargaya Namaha. Om Dhrutatmane Namaha. Om Niyamaya Namaha. Om Yamaya Namaha. Now, let us try to analyze each name into a few of the possible meanings attached to each name. Upendraha, Upa Indraha. One meaning of this name is above Indra. Another possible meaning is younger brother of Indra. As we know, Mahavishnu, in his incarnation as Vamana, was born to Aditi, the mother of Indra. Hence, the Lord is known as younger brother of Indra, Upa Indraha, Upendraha. One more meaning of Upa is above, that is superior to. As we all know, Mahavishnu is far superior to Indra. Indra, whenever he has any trouble, the first person he rushes to, supreme power, is Mahavishnu. One more possible meaning of Upendra is like this. Indra, Indra or Indriya represents our sense organs. Upendra, that is the king of sense organs, mind, the consciousness, or the self, can be considered to be the king of sense organs because it is the mind, it is the inner self which regulates all the sense organs. It works like its regulator. The second name appearing in this way, Vamana, as we all know, fifth of the 10 incarnations of Mahavishnu. Actually, Vamana means one who has a very small body, a person who is very, very small and short. We call him Vamana. So, this is the form of a child student in Gurukula, in a Guru ashrama. At that time, he's a brahmachari. He's called Vatu. Vatu. So, this is one of the names of Vamana. Actually, Vamana Avatara is different from other incarnations of Mahavishnu. Here, the person Vamana tackled is Emperor Mahabali. Mahabali, although born in the family of, in the race of Rakshasas, was by no definition a bad person. He was not. Actually, Mahabali, Bali, is the grandson of the great devotee Prahalada, extremely righteous person. But then he became very powerful. He occupied even the heaven, Swarga, and displaced Indra. So to restore the balance, Mahavishnu incarnation took the incarnation as Vamana. And Mahabali was known for his great charitable nature. He was conducting great yajna. Vamana approached him and Mahabali asked him, whatever you want, I am prepared to give you. Vamana very tactfully suggested that he will be satisfied with land which can be measured with 3 steps of his. When the Emperor Bali promises the land which can be measured by 3 steps, the Lord suddenly assumed a Virata Swarupa, a Vishwarupa, a massive step he took. And with that, he measured all the 3 worlds, the earth, the heaven, the netherworld, and finally, he, he didn't have a place to keep his third step. This is a very interesting story in which Bali offers his own head. O Lord, place your foot on my head. Accordingly, Mahavishnu, as Vamana, does that, and sends Bali back to nether world. This is the story coming there. The way Vamana assumed the Trivikra form is extremely beautiful. That is explained in the next name. The third name in this verse is Pramshuhu. Pramshuhu means expansive, one with a vast body, unimaginably big body, a gigantic cosmic form. Harivamsha has a beautiful description of how Vamana expands into a cosmic form. And it's very difficult to explain that. The only point of reference we can think of what the Rishi thought of was sun and the moon. Taking sun and the moon as two fixed factors, the expanding form of Vamana is explained. As Vamana starts expanding, literally speaking, the sun and the moon appeared like his eyes. That means at the top of his body. As he measured the earth, they were aligned with his bosom. Next, as he measured the space, they appeared at his navel. And finally, as he lifted his feet to measure the heaven, the sun and the moon were just below his knees. Now, no effort of such a powerful being will ever go in vain. That is Amogha. Amogha happens to be the next name in the Vishnu Sahasranama in this particular verse. Amogha means a person whose actions never go in vain. That means a person whose actions are always successful. Now, Mahavishnu, his actions, he does lot of things. In various incarnations, he performed lots of actions, big and small. Some of them may look very, very small or maybe purposeless, but every action of his is meant to serve a larger purpose. Every action of his gives a message. Even when he punishes the evildoers, he is not. It's only he is trying to serve a bigger purpose. Even the persons who are punished, ultimately, they get liberation, they get moksha. For example, we know the stories of Hiranyakashpa and Hiranyakashpu, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashpu, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, Shishupala and Pentavakra. Three different ages, three, not three, four incarnations of Mahavishnu dealt with these pairs of Rakshasas, these pairs of brothers. They were none other than Jaya and Vijaya, the most faithful doorkeepers of Mahavishnu in Vaikuntha. He repeatedly killed them only to liberate them from a curse and enable them to return to his abode, Vaikuntha. The next name appearing in this verse is Shuchi. Shuchi means pure, pious. So Mahavishnu himself is described as Shuchi. Shuchi is a person who is spotlessly clean in not the physical sense, character, ever pure. No impurity is attached to such a person. The reason is very simple in this case. Everything that we see in the universe is an aspect of the same Supreme Being, Mahavishnu. A thing can be, a thing becomes impure, an object becomes impure when a foreign body attaches to it. But in the case of Mahavishnu's creation, there is no foreign body at all. Everything is same Paramatma. So no other outside body, no other part can ever come there. So the question of impurity, foreign matter, just does not arise in this case. It follows A person who is maintaining absolute purity, a person who is always Shuchivrata, person naturally has tremendous strength, is a mighty person. Might and strength are known as Urja. Urjitaha, which is the next name appearing in this verse. Extremely mighty. Here, might is in terms of vibhutis. Any great aspect which we see around is that actually Mahavishnu, that is Lord Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita tells, whenever you see anything glorious, wherever you see anything prosperous, wherever anything which is powerful, anything noteworthy, it is nothing but a spark of my splendor. It has sprung from me only. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam श्रीमत् ऊर्जितम् एव वा तत् तत् एव अवगच्छत्वं मम तेजः अंश संभवम् यद् यद् विभूतिमत्सत्त्वं श्रीमदूर्जितमेव वा तत् तदेव अवगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंश संभवम्. This is verse 41 of chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Now, a person who is having so many vibhutis, although at one stage we called him Upendra, he is not Upendra. He is far more powerful than Indra. He is Atindraha, Ati Indraha, far superior to Indra. Happens to be the next name. One who is beyond Indra in knowledge, glory, and strength. Since Indra represents the mind, intellect, equipment, Atman or the self is denoted here as one which transcends the mind. Atindraha, such a supreme being, has three functions, cosmic functions: creation, sustenance, and dissolution. After creation, after it is sustained, when the times come from dissolving the entire universe, Mahavishnu gathers all the beings, all aspects of creation together. He brings them together and compresses. This process is called Sangraha. Sangraha, one meaning is all destroyer. Actually, it is not exactly destruction, it is nothing but dissolution. He brings all these together, compresses them, and absorbs, keeps it within himself. That is what he does. For example, just like a wheel, hub of a wheel holds the rim onto itself by endless spokes, so to the Atman, lends vitality to every cell in the being. Self being the same everywhere, in all existence, movables and immovables, gross and subtle, manifest as well as in the. Who is holding all these together? Who is holding the entire universe? And who is maintaining the balance in that? That is the Mahavishnu. He holds them together in an embrace of love and oneness. So at the end of, as the time for dissolution nears, the entire thing is compressed together, and then what next? The next cycle of cosmic cycle starts, and there is a creation. Creation is called Sargaha, which is the next name. Sarga, evolution. He is the one who has created the entire world from himself. Earlier, the entire world was absorbed into himself. Now, the same thing emerges from him, which is called creation. Sangraha and Sargaha. These two names draw attention to the two phases of the cosmic cycle, namely dissolution and then creation. Such a challenging and difficult job is being done by the Supreme Being. Who is helping him? Who is supporting him? No one else but himself. He is the Dhrutatma. Hutatma is a self-supporter. Sangraha, as we have seen, is creation, is bringing together. Sargaha is creation. Who supports him? None. Hutatma. So this is how he is controlling himself. How about the universe? How about the things who are being created? Who controls them? Who directs them? Who regulates them? Again, the same supreme being. He is called the Niyamaha. Niyamaha is a director. In our bureaucratic language, we call him the appointing authority. He is a person who decides and he prescribes for each mighty force of nature what we call the Panchabhutas, the sun, solar, solar factors, cosmic factors, law of gravity, everything, the laws of their conduct, the ways of their behavior, the methods of their work functions, of sun, moon, air, waters, the Dikpalakas, even God, Lord Yama, God of death. All these authorities, they are all sort of subordinate authorities appointed by the supreme director, Vishnu. And what about the control of the beings inside? Inside control is also done by him. It is called Yamaha. Yamaha is a ruler. Yaha Atmanam Antaraha Yama iti. He is a mighty power, but administers all the force of nature under supreme law, which is unviolable. Nobody can ever disobey his law. How does he do it? He is residing within each of us and regulating our conduct. The supreme being is within our presence, our body, in ourselves. But we are normally unaware of his divine presence. He is the one you should know. He is the one to be known. He is called Vedyaha, which is the first name in the next verse, which we will study later. Hari Om Tat Sat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti